Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The name's Ben, and this is the last installment of the Sherpee's Guide to the Lighthouse for Destiny 1. Yes, I can say that now. Destiny 1. Feels good, man. This video was inspired by the Twitterer Ranger, who asks, what is the best way to support your fellow Guardians in the Trials of Osiris? I've already covered 10 concepts in the first 2 installments of this series that focus on individual play, but approaching the subject from a completely support role isn't something I've done. So this video will contain more don'ts than do's. Here goes. First and foremost, to play the support role, you need to complement the playstyle of your fire team. For instance, take the first time Trials map, Dungeons. Great map, he mumbled sarcastically. The team that won 9 out of 10 rounds was the team that rushed Grenade Central, also known as bottom mid, the fastest. But this strategy would only work if there was support fire from all fire team members. If somehow there was an upset, it was because someone got picked off by a grenade or a sniper. If your teammates intend to be aggressive, don't leave them outnumbered, especially in situations where they've weakened players down to 1 shot. If they intend to be defensive by not rushing the objective and decide instead to wait for a pick, make sure that you know their game plan and where on the map you're going to stand in the team's new game plan. Ask if you have to, but generally it is near the strongest and most aggressive teammate. Once you've reached your intended position, you should be doing your part to improve your group's awareness by calling out positions the moment your motion sensor tells you. In either case, whether you rush the objective or not, the best way to complement your team is to use primary weapons, and put away snipers, sidearms, and shotties until you have an enemy down. The reliance on secondaries at this point has ruined a whole generation of Guardians, including myself, to be honest. The biggest problem with secondary-focused strategies is that they rely heavily on the opposing team making a specific set of mistakes. A good team will counter sidearms and shotguns by rushing the objective early and playing defensively with grenades and pulse rifles. To counter snipers, you just need to avoid sniper lanes. In this example, a group we ran into decided to hold this random room in the middle of nowhere with a negative tactical value. The only way this strategy would work is if we suddenly decided, hey, let's go find ghosts today, right now. Like right now. I'm not bashing anyone, by the way, I don't mean to be rude, I'm just pointing out that there's an important lesson to be learned here. What do you do instead? You remember that Trials is an objective game type. If you secure the objective, the enemy team has to expose themselves to get to you, and it's always a disadvantage to be the aggressor in a stalemate, especially with motion sensors snitching on you. This is where primaries shine. If you secure a medium to long sightline with primaries, you'll have the advantage always. They have to come to you. They have to peek, they have to move forward, they have to aim, and they have to shoot. That's like 4 things that they have to do at once. You, on the other hand, have already pre-aimed the lane, so you only have to shoot. That's 1 thing. To that end, I'd also add avoid using auto rifles. I would talk about why you should avoid ARs, but that would cause me to remember what they were like in year 1, which would cause me to miss them, which would cause me to say a bad word, so I won't. Is it possible to go flawless with them? Yes. But can you compete with players of equal skill that are running pulses and hand cannons? No. Hand cannons aren't in the clear as much anymore. They are unsuitable for many reasons, but briefly, they're inconsistent at range. Pulse rifles like the PDX and its many analogs are the most consistent primaries in the game. On maps with longer sightlines, scouts like the Mightea, Vision of Confluence, and Tlaloc are excellent for assertive support play. These options function great even when you start to lose your nerve, trust me. Another healthy habit to develop is gauging your opponent's time to kill. If at the start of a gunfight you notice you've taken way more damage than you expected, retreat behind a teammate. Calmly scream that your life is in danger. That's what I do. Next up. You'll notice a lot of streamers call out when an enemy player is off by themselves. This is because they can be easily picked. However, your teammates may not always be in a position to collapse on a lone player. In those cases, it's best to go for trades, especially if you already have an enemy down. Here's an example on Shores of Unsymmetrical. We have 1 down, my teammates have engaged the other, and I have the last guy blocked off in the dark hallway behind me. But I get axioned. I had 2 choices here. Run for the next 2 minutes and leave my teammates flank exposed. Number 2, go for a trade. I choose option 2. Instead of retreating completely, I reposition myself slightly and tanked the damage from the grenade. Because I know strong players will slide under sniper sightlines, I prepare for a body shot. And I knew I had a knife, so I tossed it to finish off the kill. To be honest, he had an AR, so here it worked out better than I expected. But in the end, I managed to keep that player isolated I made sure my teammates didn't get flanked, and I babysat my res. In hindsight, if I had a shotgun in that moment, another option would have been to slide forward and dodge the grenade and go for a kill. Year 1 fun fact: most chaser grenades can be rendered useless with properly timed slides. Here's an example of that. Number trace. Self-evaluation. Critique your gameplay. I spend hours watching my gameplay, mainly because of YouTube, but a side effect of that has been improved awareness of my weaknesses. For example, I found that with my Elite controller trigger stops, I tend to shoot before I have my sights completely lined with my target's head. This means sometimes, even though I may have seen my opponent first, I'll misfire that first shot, and they'll end up getting the shot on target before I do. This would end with me losing the gunfight. Solution? I removed my trigger stops, I bumped up the sensitivity of my triggers, and made a mental note to pace that first shot a little bit more so it's more deliberate. On Xbox you can record 5-minute chunks of gameplay, so if you hit record halfway through a game, and at the end of it, you'll have 10 minutes of reviewable footage. Use it. Trust me, it helps. And when you do, tell me what it was that got you killed that one time. I'm sure there's something similar for those of you on PlayStation. Number 5. Subclass Mastery. Master a support build. By that I mean run one subclass in the Crucible for an entire week leading to a Trials weekend. Really great support builds include Defender Titan builds with those purple gauntlets and a Mightea shoddy combo, Nightstalkers with wombos, and Stormcallers with, well, anything really. I'm gonna regret this later. An alternative to binge gaming for 5 days on a subclass is to watch competitive PvP streams featuring said subclasses. I'll list some of my favorites below. You'll be surprised what you'll learn from just watching. A couple of examples come to mind are Dr. Lupo for Nightstalkers, the Fun Popo guy for Defenders, and Wish for Stormlocks. If you know any of these guys, you're probably thinking, they're not support players, Ben. Yes, I know, but they do know how to run their subclasses and they play assertively when facing worthy opponents. That's the takeaway here. Ask yourself, what do they do at the beginning of every round? Where do they go if that didn't work? What primaries do they rely on when things go south? What prompts the switch from defensive to aggressive play? How fast do they respond to an enemy or friendly death? These are all questions you should ponder if you're looking to be a strong support player. Finally, avoid anxiety. How? Well, for one, don't sit in orbit psyching yourself out over people's stats. At most, look up their builds so that you're not caught off guard by an odd grenade, but reading stats does more harm than good. The more you sweat these things before they happen, the more stressful it becomes when you have to land shots, so why put yourself through it? Also, reading people's stats in the middle of a run helps no one on your team. I've beaten much better teams than mine and lost to way worse ones. I don't lose sleep over it. Just laugh it off. You still have a life. There's oxygen in the air. Relax. I understand it can be frustrating, which is why I hope Bungie changes the progression system for Trials in Destiny 2. But that's a topic for another video. For the time being, do your part to support your team with the points I have mentioned here, and who knows, you may end up carrying them when they're not doing so great. And that is about all I have to say on Trials. If you haven't seen parts 1 and 2, I highly recommend doing so. I may have repeated some talking points, but that just means they're really, really important. Also, those videos feature more tactical adjustments you can make to your game. This has more to do with support roles and your mindset going into a Trials card. For Destiny 2, I'll probably resume this series, assuming people still like the Lighthouse. And, assuming there is a Lighthouse. Now that I think about it, who knows, we may get a new Lighthouse. Interest, I know, right? Food for a new video. Ooh, I should look that up actually. Probably be interesting. If I find anything, I'll let you know. If I don't find anything, I promise to make a fake lore video about it. What was I talking about? Yes, resuming this series. I hope there's enough change for me to do so, and if not, I'll still find a reason to. If you have specific Trials-related questions that I somehow magically haven't covered, link them below. Who knows, you might inspire a video of your own. Until then, God bless and deuces.
One, oh, I got bodied. Still in the back.
He's dead. Did you just get a flat? Nice. Put that in the mind.